So, in such a close race in 2024, it's inevitable that the question gets asked, is it possible to tie the Electoral College? And the answer is, well, kind of, but not realistically, but maybe, if you understand that answer. But we are filling in the Republican safe states and likely states, uh, and then we will do so with the Democrats, and we will give you the answer of whether it is possible and what the procedure is afterwards as well. So these are the Dem safe states all the way up here through New England. We have Maine, we have New York, and we have Virginia last of all. So now we have our 7 swing states. We can go to this article and it gives us 3 methods of 269. Now, what you will find in these kind of paths to 269 is you'll see a Nebraska second district or a Maine second district be put in the opposite category to what it's actually going to be. It's not realistic at all. None of these scenarios are really realistic, but it's just not going to happen. Maine's second district is not going to go blue. It's going to be so we can kind of disregard this one. It's going to be Republican. That district will be. So we got to look at these two. Now the problem is with this one is it takes the 3 most Republican states and puts them blue, and of course the inverse, the 4 most blue states, it puts them red. So again, not realistic in the slightest. This one is probably your best bet. So it would be Pennsylvania and North Carolina going red, which is entirely possible. We had that in our last prediction, which you can go and check out in the channel. But Michigan would also have to go red, which is probably unlikely because if you're losing Georgia, which you'd have to in this scenario, you're probably losing Michigan as Republicans. But anyway, you've got Wisconsin, you've got Nevada. These are 2 states that could very well go blue. And then Arizona, which is perhaps, again, with Georgia, the most Republican state. So it's going to be very hard to see that one going blue. But again, this scenario is not entirely realistic. It's just what would happen if this did happen. So RFK pulled out, and the article mentions this quite a lot. RFK pulled out in a bid to be in there for a contingency election. He kept his name on the ballot in some states, and he's asking people to run up the numbers there. That's not how it works, unfortunately, for RFK. It was the 1800 election, actually, as well, that I mentioned earlier. RFK, he would not be involved in the contingency election because you have to win an electoral vote to do so, and it would take a rogue elector to allow that to happen. It would take a faithless elector picking RFK for president for that to happen. So the procedure is that the House of Representatives would decide the president. Now, it's not in the traditional way. You'd think, okay, there's 338 members of the House, congressmen and women. So, and the Democrats are most likely to win in November. So you say, well, Democrats are going to win the presidency, but that's not how it works. It works like this. So we can go over to our House map over here, and let's take, for example, let's go to Alabama, right? There's 7 districts in Alabama. So we say these 2 are Democrat and these 5 are Republican. Okay. So Republicans have 5, Democrats have 2, which obviously is a majority. Republicans have the majority, so their state's delegation, each state gets 1 delegation in this case, not electoral votes, different numbers, 54 for California, it's 1 for each state. So the presidency would, in this case, in Alabama's case, they would vote Republican. And then let's say you took a state like New Mexico, and you said that, let's say these are the 2 these aren't the actual districts, by the way, in the actual house. I'm just putting a prediction or a projection out there. New Mexico would be 2 to Democrats, 1 to Republicans, so it would choose the Democrat nominee, which in this case is Kamala Harris, and their delegation would go there. Now, Republicans currently have 26 states where they control most of the seats. The only problem is they don't look set, but they could lose Arizona. The flip side to that is North Carolina looks likely to flip to Republicans, so they would keep their 26. You need 26 for a majority, so they are literally on the edge, but they would keep it, and these other states are not competitive, so they should maintain their simple majority, as it puts it here, to win the contingency election and elect Donald Trump as the president. Now, Donald Trump is the president, but that does not necessarily mean that his vice president is set. So, the vice president would be selected by the Senate, and the Senate would most likely elect J.D. Vance. Again, same sort of system. But you never know. We could end up with a President Trump and Vice President Walz, or a President Harris and a Vice President Vance. It's a very unusual system that you have over there in America. If there was a case of they can't decide the candidate by the 20th of January, that's inauguration day, then the president would be the elected vice president from the Senate. So let's say in this case it's J.D. Vance and they can't decide on a president. J.D. Vance would be the president until they did decide a president. They'd go through more processes to get to that conclusion. And let's say in the unbelievable case that the presidential race has tied and then the House has also tied when trying to elect a president, and then the Senate has also tied when trying to elect a vice president, it would mean that the Speaker of the House, which is currently Mike Johnson, but it may be Hakeem Jeffries by the end of November, he would become the standing president for that moment while they elect even a vice president, or ideally they'd get the presidency sorted as well. But it's not a likely scenario, but if it were to happen, it would be pandemonium. And you thought it was chaos last time, with January 6th. It would be perhaps 10 times worse, and I fear what would happen if that were the case. But it's not a scenario that is one that we're likely to live, thank God. So we should avoid all of that. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video just explaining the process of the 269 to 269 tie, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe for the British perspective on American politics. We are going to do a polling video tomorrow, and it's going to be very interesting to see where we're at with 2.5 weeks to go. But anyway, guys, if you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, as I said, comment, subscribe, share, all of that good business, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.